Okay, this is my audience that's listening. These are my cards that I will be using during my speech. Okay. My name is Monica Olivas, and I am in the public speaking class at Scott Community College. Today I will be talking about the journey that led to the riots of Rodney King. And first of all, this is an event that happened 25 years ago, but this is still something of an issue that is still going on today when it comes to profiling. So imagine yourself at a store and you're just doing your normal routine, and somebody just decides to treat you differently based on the color of your skin. That kind of gives you an idea of, what he went through. So what I'm going to talk to you today about is the events that led to the riots. So first I'm going to talk to you about what led to his arrest. Second, I'm going to talk to you about the trial, that what actually happened in the trial. And third, I'm going to talk to you about how the trial led to the riots of 1991 for Rodney King in Los Angeles. Okay, so Rodney King had a rap sheet already before this event happened. He was known to, have excessive drinking. He had already been arrested before. On this particular arrest, though, Rodney King was speeding. He was driving about 115 miles per hour, and the cops were on a high-speed chase with him. And when they did pull him over, what it was four police officers pulled him over, and they did have like a very brutal beating that they had on him. What he used to say, according to famouSartistTrials.com, is that he was afraid to go back to prison, and he was afraid to wind up, back off of his parole, and this is why he was speeding away from the cops. Like I mentioned earlier, he did have excessive drinking. He had been given a DUI, which that also led to further treatments that he had to go through, but still wound up using PCP. And he even had an arrest for indecent exposure. So he had quite a lot of details that led to, him having a bad reputation with the police officers. On this particular day, he was beaten with a baton, and this was actually captured by George Holliday. He was just an amateur photographer, and he happened to be recording this day, and he caught it on tape, according to the LATimes.com. In his beating, it was pretty brutal. You can see from this picture, and I'm going to show it also to the camera. His eye was busted pretty well, and he took a beating. So if you look at the police officers that were part of this beating, 3 out of the 4 of them were actually Caucasian, which is what brought, attention to this case. And not only did he get beaten, but he also got tased. He was kicked. And this was reported as one of the first videos that was actually leaked out that showed police brutality back in 1991. So the city was pretty shocked to see these kinds of events happening to somebody, to a person, and by somebody that you trust, which is police officers. So it was not misinterpreted, but it was more looked at as a racial significance. And it was only because, like I mentioned, 3 of the officers were Caucasian. Mr. Rodney King was of African American descent. So when they went to trial, it was, a lot of days of going through back and forth of looking at the information. But they were actually acquitted after they were tried. And after this court case, 3 hours later, they wound up where the riots began. And the city of LA went crazy. A lot of the people that felt that he got injustice in this type of, even though he was a criminal, he still should not have been treated or beaten this way. So as a result of these riots, I remember them on TV, and they were very, very brutal. 50 people died, 2,000 were injured, and 9,500 were arrested as a result of being a part of these riots. Some of the people that participated in the riots went as far as pulling out Caucasian people out of their cars, beating them. Even if they had nothing to do with this event, they were still badly beaten and some of them even murdered. My opinion to this matter, to this case, is violence is not the answer, especially when it comes to racism. And there's a famous quote that Mr. King left behind, even after everything that happened. He did say, according to CBSNews.com, if we need to think like King. And he said, people, I just want to say, why can't we all just get along? And that has been something that has run through all of these years to this day. And I believe if if we were to follow what he said, maybe this world that we live in would be a better place. Unfortunately, though, we still see a lot of this still going on nowadays. Thank you. That's my speech. And here's my audience. They're still here and they're still listening.